My name is Henry Lawson. I've worked as a janitor at Goldridge & Co. For 26 years, I've cleaned every corner of that building, every hallway, every restroom, every office. Most people don't really notice me. I'm the quiet figure in the background, sweeping the floors while they talk business, laugh over coffee, or rush past on their phones. I've gotten used to it. You stop expecting a good morning after a while, but that morning changed everything. It was a Thursday in late October. Rain tapped on the windows, and the sky was a heavy shade of gray, like it didn't want to wake up either. I came in early, like I always do, to clean the boardroom before the 9 a.m. meeting. It was supposed to be a big one, something about restructuring and layoffs. The tension in the building was already thick when I got there. The executives started filing in earlier than expected, so I decided to quietly stay in the back corner until they were done. I figured I could slip out once things got started. I kept my head down, wiping off the last smudge from the glass table when Mr. Whitman walked in. Mr. Charles Whitman, our CEO. He wasn't like the others. Over the years, he always took the time to say hello. He knew my name. Sometimes he'd stop and chat with me, ask about my daughter's school, how I was holding up after my wife passed, even recommend books he thought I might like. He didn't look down on me. That's rare in places like this, but that day he looked worn. His skin was pale, and his hands trembled just a bit as he set down his folder. You could tell he was pushing through something. He stood at the head of the table and opened his mouth to speak. Then it happened. His knees buckled. His body leaned forward. And he collapsed. Everything went still. At first, no one moved. It was like everyone in that room forgot how to breathe. Then the panic hit. Some people jumped out of their chairs. One woman screamed. A man dropped his coffee. People started fumbling with their phones, calling 911, shouting instructions, unsure of what to do, and I just ran to him. I don't have medical training. I'm not a doctor or a nurse, but I took care of my wife when she had cancer. I watched nurses closely. I learned how to keep someone calm, how to listen to the body, how to stay steady when everything inside you wants to fall apart. I dropped to my knees beside Mr. Whitman and gently turned him on his side. He's breathing, I said. Weak, but steady. I looked up. We need to keep him warm. Get something to cover him. And clear space, don't crowd him. At first, they just stared at me. This was Henry the janitor. What was he doing barking orders in a boardroom? But then, someone handed me a coat. Another cleared the chairs. Someone else asked, "What else can we do?" For those few minutes, I wasn't invisible. When the paramedics arrived, they took over quickly. They stabilized Mr. Whitman, put him on the stretcher, and wheeled him out. And then the room fell into silence. No one knew what to say. Everyone just stood there, wide-eyed, shaken. Someone finally said, "What now?" I don't know what made me do it, but I stepped forward. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way everyone looked lost, like kids who just watched their dad fall apart. Maybe I was just tired of being quiet. I know I'm not supposed to speak in meetings like this, I said, my voice a little rough. I'm not wearing a suit. I've never read a financial report. I don't make decisions. I clean up after them. But I've been here longer than almost all of you. The room was dead quiet. No one interrupted. I've watched this company grow from a small office to this tower. I've seen it in good times and bad. And I've watched Mr. Whitman lead it through all of that. Not just with his mind, but with his heart. I took a breath. He once found me crying in the stairwell after my wife died. He sat down next to me on the cold concrete and didn't say a word for 10 minutes. Just sat there. Then he said, "You don't have to be strong right now. Just breathe." He brought me lunch the next day. Told the HR team to give me extra time off. I never asked for it. He just saw me. I looked around at the faces in the room, some teary, some ashamed, some thoughtful. Right now, he needs us. He doesn't need titles or degrees or performance reports. He needs people who care. So maybe for just one day, we put aside the suits and salaries and remember we're human first. That's what he would have done. No one clapped. But no. One needed to. The CFO stepped forward, his eyes wet, and said, "Thank you, Henry. You reminded us who we are." Later that week, Mr. Whitman woke up in the hospital. He'd had a minor stroke. The doctors said if we'd waited just a few minutes longer, it could have been worse. Much worse. When he returned to the office weeks later, I was mopping the front lobby. He walked right up to me with his suit and his slow, recovering steps and pulled me into a hug. "You saved me," he said quietly. "But more than that, you saved us." Since that day, things changed, not all at once. At first, it was small things. A few people started making eye contact when they passed me in the hall. Some nodded. Some smiled. A few even stopped to say hello. Then slowly, it grew. People who had never spoken to me before began calling me by name. "Good morning, Henry," they'd say with a warmth that wasn't there before. "How's your day going?" And they didn't just ask to be polite, they actually waited for an answer. They listened. I started hearing laughter in the break rooms again, not nervous, stressed laughter, but real, honest laughter. People started eating lunch together instead of sitting alone at their desks. Some of them began to check in on each other, ask about families, share stories. A manager asked one of the interns how her mother was doing after surgery. Another exec brought in muffins for the whole team just because it was like the walls between us had cracked open, and for the first time, we saw each other not just as roles or job titles, but as people. People with stories, struggles, dreams. Hearts.me. I'm still the janitor. I still wear the same faded blue uniform. Still mop the floors, take out the trash, polish the glass doors, and make sure the bathrooms smell like lemon and lavender. But something's different now. I walk through the halls and people nod, smile, wave. Sometimes they stop me to talk. "Henry, did you catch the game last night?" "Hey, what do you think about this playlist? You got any good book recommendations?" They laugh with me. They ask for advice sometimes. They treat me like I matter, and the thing is I do. I always did, but now, for the first time in a long time, I feel it. I don't feel invisible anymore. I don't feel like background noise in a building full of big voices and louder egos. I feel seen. I feel heard. I feel like I belong, and sometimes, when the building is quiet at the end of the day and I'm the only one left, I walk through the boardroom, the same place where everything changed, and I smile, because that's the room where I stopped being just the janitor. That's the room where they finally saw the man behind the mop.